Hello, it's the CryoLady here again. That's my doodah. Let's find my doodah. That's my doodah. So I'm going to switch this on, get into it. It's raining today. I mean, I can't really complain because today was pretty good. Today, so yesterday even. Yesterday was really nice. The day before that was okay. It's good as well. So I guess it's got to rain sometime or another. Let's get it. There you go. So, I was 18 in 1984 and I started my nurse training. I lived in a nurse's home. So, I kind of lived a life of going out and doing stuff, really. What was it like in the 80s? I mean, I was smack bang in the middle of the 80s when I was 18, 19, 20, 21. And I had a very good time, I'm not going to lie. So I lived in Taunton in Somerset. Now Taunton, it's not a big city or anything like that. It's a town, it's a county town. And in all honesty, it doesn't matter, I guess, where you are. I mean, obviously it helps if you live in a town. I didn't live in Taunton. I lived outside of Taunton, so we relied on taxis. At one point, I used to go out probably. I mean, honestly, there were times when I went out 7 nights a week. If I was working a late shift, I think it finished at. I think it finished at 8:30. Pretty sure the late shift when I was doing my nurse training, and if I was working on a ward, finished at 8:30. So it would be a dash back to the nurse's home. Get changed very quickly and off out into Taunton. Now, I used to go out with a variety of people that lived in the nurse's home. I had a friend called Kathy. I had a friend called Michelle. I had a friend called Helen. I had a friend called Jenny. I had a friend called Vicky. And so at various points we'd go out into Taunton. Oh, I had a friend called Donna. So nightclubs in Taunton at the time, it was a bit restrictive because there was only really 2 nightclubs. There was Kingston's, which was a big nightclub. Played very sort of poppy music at the time. Duran Duran, Madonna, Level 42, Haircut 100. Those are just some of the British bands. Obviously, Madonna's not British, she's American. And then there was another nightclub as well, which I much preferred, and it was called The Gap. Now, if anyone that lives in Taunton and used to go to The Gap, then they'll know what I'm talking about. So The Gap was kind of a more alternative nightclub. It played predominantly music like The Smiths, The Cure, that kind of stuff. And that was more my kind of music. I mean, I had gone through a phase where I really liked Madonna, and I actually collected all of her stuff. But I sort of moved away from that. I also quite liked Dire Straits at the time as well. And I still do like Dire Straits, and I still like The Smiths, and I do like The Cure. And I quite like OMD as well. They're all right. But, I mean, there was lots of bands. Oh, and the Stranglers. I love the Stranglers, actually. I listen to them now. But, yeah. We used to go out, honestly, I mean, generally 5 times a week, but occasionally 7. The shops that I liked to go to, of the time, we had Etam. That doesn't exist anymore, but you get all your 80s clothes in there, definitely. The fashionable 80s clothes. Topshop. That's only just disappeared off the high streets as well. Not that long ago, I don't suppose. Chelsea Girl. Chelsea Girl was a really good place. Again, got all your fashions, clothes in there. That was really cool. But the thing is, I was actually a bit alternative. So what I used to do was, do you know what? I think some people might call it a bit sort of cottagecore cross, really, because I used to go into Laura Ashley. Now, Laura Ashley doesn't have a high street presence anymore either, but I used to go in and buy. Now, the dresses were expensive in there. They were far more expensive than anywhere else, like your standard shops. But I used to go in there and I would carefully pick out the dresses that I wanted. So I'd usually go for like a fitted bodice with a scooped neckline and a full skirt. And I also bought a couple of dresses which came to, I suppose, just above my knee. And it was more sort of a fitted, it's sort of fitted drop waist. And then it was kind of what we call a rah-rah skirt. So ruffles of the material round the bottom of it. And honestly, I just thought I looked like the bee's knees in those dresses. And I'm absolutely certain someone stole one of those. They stole one of my bloody dresses. So I was so upset about that. Hunter High and Low, gone. Someone had that one away. The pubs I used to go to, I think there was a pub called the Light Bob, which would go in for a few drinks. It was all right, but it tended to be full of Raw Marines, However, there was the music was pretty good, and it was quite large. I can't remember. I don't know if it was the Prince of Wales, maybe. In all honesty, at the time, there weren't that many good pubs around. There was only probably a few in Taunton at the time that were worth going to. What we used to do was occasionally we'd get on the train. So if we had a weekend off, we'd get on the train on... We finish... Okay, so if you work the weekend, so if you work till Friday, you'd finish about, 1:30, something like that. And it would, again, be a mad dash to the nurse's home, quickly get changed, grab your bag of stuff, and then run as fast as you could to the bus stop, which was, that was a run and a half. Because the buses, there was barely any buses. There was only a few. Jump onto the bus, get the bus into Taunton, and then go to the station and get on the train and go to Plymouth. Now, what we would usually do as well is we would stop off at an off licence and get some drink as well. And then we'd go on the train, go down to Plymouth. Once we got there, because we were usually starving, we'd go into a cafe and we'd order, I think it was like pasty, chips and beans. So something to sort of line your stomach, really, for what was to come. And then we'd go to Plymouth Hoe and we'd book into a bed and breakfast, me and my pal. We'd share a room. And it was something like £15 a night, and you got a cooked breakfast the next morning. We'd get ready, leave all our stuff, and then we'd go into town. And we'd go into we'd just go into various pubs. Sometimes we'd go down to the Barbican and we'd go to the pubs there. And then we'd go to a nightclub. There's a nightclub down the Barbican. And then sometimes we'd go down to Union Street, because there was far more nightclubs on Union Street as well. But you'd start off at the top in a place called the Two Trees, and you could just work your way down Union Street, and then you'd wind up in a nightclub. There was a number of nightclubs there. I'm trying to, I could think of one. It's called Boobs. Does anyone remember Plymouth in the 80s? Or Taunton in the 80s? What did you think of the nightclubs there? Did you go nightclubbing? Do you go nightclubbing now? You know, what's a night out for you now? Anyway, please like and subscribe and comment.